Am I the asshole for not being friendly with my partner's daughters now that they've warmed up to me? I'm 42, dating Tim, 59, a widower. He's in banking, I'm a bartender. I know what it looks like. His two daughters thought the same thing, but he's broke as a joke and I've got a trust fund, so actually no. He's broke because his late wife got cancer. 3 times. He ran up 6 credit cards, 2 curate, ND, mortgage on the house, cashed out his retirement, everything and anything to get her the treatment she needed and then to get treatment enough to see both daughters married. His daughters live 6 hours drive away. We drove to them for Xmas last year and the year before. They ignored me, dragged Tim away when he tried to include me and prevented their husbands from making even small talk with me by talking over me. Year 1 Tim chastised them, they apologized, to him, not me. They blamed the pain of seeing their dad with a woman who wasn't their mom. Year 2, they did it again. This year I told Tim not again. He could go, I would never ask him not to see his daughters for Xmas but I'll stay here. Tim didn't love the idea because me going with him means we can share the responsibility of driving when his back starts to bother him. He hates to fly, his 2010 death trap is starting to go anyway, so I leased him a comfy luxury ride. My brother has a dealership. He called the girls, super excited that he'd be able to see them more often without having to worry about his back, who then blew up and accused him of spending their mother's money on a bull house and car to impress some bimbo bartender and didn't offer them a dime for their weddings. In the ensuing argument it came out that they assumed there had been a life insurance policy, nor did they have any idea about the credit card debt or the 2 carat, ND, mortgage that the house was underwater on or that Tim was looking at foreclosure and bankruptcy until he moved in with me. They did not realize it was my house, that he pays no bills save the water bill, man takes excessive showers, and shared groceries. Now the girls want my number. They are sorry I felt lonely at Xmas. They want to come visit and stay with us next year. Conveniently in summer, I live near a beach. I've told Tim absolutely not about giving out my number. I'm happy to be polite if they come to visit Tim but we're not going to be friends. If they had talked to me for even 2 seconds they'd have understood. I am not shy about admitting the only thing I have ever contributed to my blessed financial state is not developing a crippling coke addiction, like my cousin Danny did. Tim thinks I'm being too unforgiving. They would have warmed up to me eventually but knowing how generous I am being with their father has made them warm up quicker. I maintain I don't care about now or later. They had their chance to not be catty brats over incorrect assumptions that I was taking advantage of him. Info. Did your partner ever do anything to correct these assumptions or was he keeping up the lie to save face? Not the asshole. You don't owe them a damn thing. That being said, they are his kids and you gotta consider that if you don't extend an olive branch that means he will be pulled in the middle and eventually push will come to shove. Is that something you're comfortable with? Considering that the daughters knew nothing at all about their parents' financial state before you arrived, it's safe to assume that they did not regularly have conversations with their parents about planning for end of life, etc. It's hard to say who is the asshole without knowing if your partner ever corrected their assumptions that you were being supported by him. It could be concerning as an adult to see your parent making extravagant purchases with a partner. You say you know what the situation looks like to outsiders, so why would you not be understanding of them thinking it is what it looks like? So my question would be, did your partner ever tell them that they have things backwards, and that he doesn't support you financially at all, and in fact you support him? They aren't being nice because you are helping their dad. They hope to get stuff from you. Info. Did Tim ever correct their assumption? I am assuming that the bimbo gold digger commentary has been floating around and he knew about it. If so, why were they never corrected? Also, how did they not know that he was flat broke, especially when the mother was getting cancer treatments and after death will, funeral, etc.? Seems like something that would have been shared. Not the asshole. These are grown women, not angry children, and you owe them nothing, certainly not the money and favors they very obviously want. But also, I'm extremely concerned that your husband never set them straight before. This man spent 2 years watching his daughters treat his wife like a gold digger and never once told them off and told them the truth. You have bigger problems than horrible stepchildren. Am I the asshole for walking out of my sister's baby gender reveal party? My sister, 37 female, is expecting her first child and she decided to throw a gender reveal party to find out if they were having a boy or girl. We're not that close. She's a decade older than me, 27 female, and we're very different people, so it's not a great combo. Plus my sister can be kind of spoiled and entitled. But still we're family and I knew my family would expect me to be there for this occasion, so husband was also invited, went. Some brief background. I have been pregnant 4 times but I have no living children. 3 ended in miscarriage. 1 ended with my baby being stillborn. My stillborn child should be 1 now. But we don't get to see them grow up. My husband and I have taken a break to heal so we can be healthy parents if we are lucky enough to have more children. When we got there it looked very much like they knew they were having a girl. There was so much pink. Significant other much. No blue. Which left us wondering why the gender reveal. When the time came for the reveal everyone found out my sister is expecting a boy. Her reaction was the reason I left. She got so hysterical and furious and she cursed and screamed that she wanted a girl. She was supposed to be having a girl and who the fuck was punishing her this way. Her husband looked equally upset by the reveal. I heard him say it was all bullshit and what a waste. My sister's temper tantrum saddened me and honestly sickened me as someone who would do anything for a child to raise. So we quietly left, but it was noticed. My sister asked what the hell we ran off for without comforting her and I told her I could not. That her reaction was not something I could understand. She told me to save her from the outrage and how dare I judge her when she has every right to be upset her dream is ended and she's now left figuring out what to do with a boy. I told her given the losses I had faced I could not understand and I ended the call. She texted me saying I was a terrible sister. Then my parents called me to say I should have stayed and waited for any feelings until after. They also told me I should just be there for my sister now. That she's going through something I don't understand. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. My sister's temper tantrum saddened me and honestly sickened me as someone who would do anything for a child to raise. So we quietly left, but it was noticed. I don't understand either your sister's reaction or your parents'. Then my parents called me to say I should have stayed and waited for any feelings until after. They also told me I should just be there for my sister now. That she's going through something I don't understand. What your parents said is totally beyond belief. You and your husband would give anything to have a living, healthy child and your sister threw a tantrum because she is having a boy. Your sister and parents are massive AHs. Not the asshole. Your sister has some definite entitlement issues and throwing a tantrum like a toddler proves she has yet to grow up and be an adult. Other family members supporting her behavior will only make your sister believe that her narcissistic view on things is right. I'd cut off a lot of them if this is the way they choose to act. Not the asshole. Anyway, you could TSKE the baby? If they really don't want a boy they may mistreat him. Not the asshole. Totally understand your point of view. Sounds like she's the golden child. Maybe it's time to put some distance between you and them for a little while. Not the asshole, you lost every child you got pregnant with and here your sister should be glad she's going to be having a healthy baby. I would have left after that too regardless because who reacts like that to their baby's gender reveal? She shouldn't have put all her eggs in a basket thinking it was a girl. I hope she doesn't grow to resent the boy as I see in other posts since she really wanted a girl. Hope you are doing okay. Not the asshole. You wouldn't be an asshole if you never even tried to have children and walked out simply because you didn't want to deal with that insane temper tantrum. Like, she knew there was about 50% chance that it would be a boy. If she wasn't prepared to handle the quite likely outcome, she is sure at hell not prepared to handle a child of either sex. Am I the asshole for not providing any kind of extra support for my kids' other household? I have 2 children, 11 female and 8 male, with my ex and we share physical and legal custody of them. I pay child support because I'm a higher earner than my ex and the child support is minimal, $150 monthly, but is supposed to help balance things between both homes. My ex is married again and her family has grown. In the house with her are her husband, his 3 children, under 10, and their 2 shared children, under 5. My ex and her husband struggle financially and have attempted to increase child support 5 times in the last 4 years. The courts turned down their request for more child support each time. Twice in front of a judge and the other times we did not make it before a judge before it was denied. My ex was reminded that child support is meant to provide for our kids, not for her family as a whole. My ex argued that the financial burden impacts them but this was not deemed worthy of a child support increase. They were looking for an increase to make it $800 a month. My ex has independently asked me to give her $50 here and there. Or to buy stuff for the other children in her home. This happens even when our children are in my home. I always say no. I have told my ex that I am not responsible for supporting her other children and will never provide for them financially. Recently this became a more intense issue on their side because our daughter's birthday and her youngest stepchild's birthday are a week apart and our daughter had a great time and got gifts at both my house and her mom's and she had a big birthday party that I hosted. While my ex's stepchild didn't get much and had no party, they could not afford one. I had been asked twice to send some gifts for the other child. My ex also wanted the other kids invited, my daughter didn't so they weren't invited. It pissed my ex off. But then her stepkids' lunch accounts went into the negative days after the birthdays were both over and since I topped up our kids, she wanted me to do it for her stepkids and I said no again. She called me a monster and asked how I could live with myself knowing my children's other family are struggling and are literally drowning in financial difficulty and I could help out but choose not to. Am I the asshole? Is it possible to have the kids live with you? What she is doing sounds very manipulative. I truly hope this doesn't turn into a situation where it is making your children feel bad or even make the stepchildren resent your children over time. As much as I am for helping any child, you are in the right to not feel obligated to take care of someone else's child. Not only that, she is sure acting entitled about the situation. I would save these messages and see what can be done to make things not just easier on you but the children. If you can, it sounds like they just need to live with you instead. Why in the world does your ex think you should be supporting somebody else's children? They should have had their finances in order before expanding their family. Kids ain't cheap. Not the asshole, and thank you for listening to your daughter when she chose who to have at her party. Sounds like she finds it a relief to get a break from her step-siblings, which is true for a lot of children. If you cannot get full custody, is there anything else you can do to help your children? Like maybe if they have an interest, you could pay for them to go to a summer camp for it so they can get a break? It sounds like their time at their mother's house is really stressful, so any extra time you can get them out is probably better for them. Or literally drowning in financial difficulty and I could help out but choose not to. You could help them financially by taking majority custody if you want lol. 2 less children to provide for should help. Not the asshole. The other kid's dad is literally right there. Not the asshole. Not your problem. Not the asshole, and I would be concerned with the living conditions in the other house that has 7 children in it and not enough money to pay for their school lunches. At some point it might be worth looking into having your kids spend more time at your house as custody 50-50 right now? Am I the asshole for breaking my children's vegan diet imposed on them by my ex? Before you all jump down my throat, give me a chance to explain. I was with my ex, Venus, for over 10 years, from when I was 15 until I was almost 26. I am currently 31. Venus was raised a vegan and has never, to my knowledge, eaten meat or any animal product. While we were together, we had 3 boys, M11, Mercury, M9, Jupiter, and M7, Mars. When I first got into the relationship with Venus, I started to follow the vegan diet because she wanted me to, and I've mostly followed it even after we broke up, mainly out of habit. During this time, I had to be very careful with what I ate to ensure I got the proper nutrients, and my food bill every month was sky high. I also had a lot of issues with depression and anxiety. About 3 months ago, I slowly started to reintroduce meat into my diet, and since then, I felt so much better. I haven't had to buy loads of vitamins or carefully plan my diet to ensure I got every amino acid or avoided deficiencies, and my food bill dropped. I also started doing research into kids who are raised vegan and found some things that made me nervous. I read that vegan kids can sometimes be shorter and might need supplements for things like B12, calcium, and iron if they aren't getting everything they need from their diet. None of my boys have started puberty yet, which might be okay, but since I hit puberty at around 9, it got me worried about Mercury. They're also all in about the 5th 15th percentile for height and weight, which made me want to check in with the doctor, which also made me very concerned after I learned that their vegan diet could have impacted this. I was never a short kid, but I think I just assumed they were just short for their age. When I brought my concerns to our GP, he recommended introducing meat and animal products into their diets first to see if it would help with growth before considering other options. So, following that advice, 6 weeks ago I decided to slowly introduce animal products into their diets whenever they had their time with me, but it has been slow. I don't want to introduce it too fast, and I gave them the choice with all the information I had and with what the doctor said. I informed Venus about this and she was furious with me, saying how I'm just doing it to be vindictive to her when I'm not. And that if I don't stop she is going to go back to family court and get the child arrangements order changed so she has full custody of the boys and I only get visitation. I told her that this was recommended by their GP and she said I had no right in going to the GP without her, when that is not true. It was during my time with them I am entitled to do whatever I want. She's calling me cruel and she's been telling our boys that they should refuse to eat any animal products and to say I'm forcing them. When this isn't true and every time they've been over they've loved trying new foods like real milk, eggs, etc. Some they don't like, which is fair. Am I the asshole? She said I had no right in going to the GP without her. I'm curious if she involves you in all medical visits during her time. Right, implies a legal issue. What does your custody agreement say about medical stuff? Not the asshole. I'd recommend getting medical documentation for the inevitable custody battle that's coming your way. It's weird as fuck that only she gets to decide their diet and I really can't see any court enforcing her diet onto others. I don't know where you live, but you might want to check on your custody agreement and see what options you have. It could be useful to get a full blood panel done on the kids. Yes, you have to be really deliberate about getting everything you need if you're vegan. It's possible, but complicated. And eating meat doesn't guarantee you're getting everything either. It would be good to know whether the kids have deficiencies. Not the asshole. I don't agree with vegan diet for young children. Your doctor recommended meat products, I would go with that. Just a heads up, veganism is sometimes used as a manipulation or alienation tool against the other parent. The reason I know, this happened to us. We were the meat-eating family and the stepkid's bio-mother was a vegan. They began seeing our house as the bad house that eats meat and began lecturing us, etc. Just something to keep an eye out for if it happens, and she uses the veganism against your household. Ada, from your description it already sounds as if she is. There is actually a term for that. Look up the term alienation. She is alienating the kids from you when she speaks negatively about you to them, which causes them to not like your place as much. I am vegan and believe that you can bring up healthy vegan children. I also believe that when you have joint residency, you have to accept that the other parent will have their own rules. I had shared residency with my 2 older children, until the ex got bored of them. I didn't like the way my ex parented. The kids didn't have an issue with different rules in their different homes and have grown up fine. I also expect my children to make their own choices once old enough. For example, I think McDonald's is an unethical junk food company, but at 13 my youngest wanted to try the McPlant burger, so I let them. I don't think you should eat animals, but it is a legal, socially acceptable choice, and your ex has to accept that. Not the asshole. They're your children too. You're doing it in consultation with a medical professional and allowing your children to choose. Learn to communicate and co-parent. Who takes their kids to the doctor and changes their diet without discussing it with the other parent first? You both need to set your egos aside and sort it out with each other or through the courts. Bringing this to Reddit is either debate bait or a sign that you aren't up to the task of being a parent.